I met Jason at a wedding. Not ours, someone else's. He was the groom's cousin. Tall, charming, and funny in a quiet, self-assured way. We talked for hours that night, tucked away in a corner, oblivious to the music and the dancing. It felt like we were the only two people in the room. By the end of the evening, as the last song played, he walked me to my car and asked for my number. It felt so old-fashioned, so respectful. I gave it to him without a second thought. 2 weeks later, we went on our first date, and then our second, and our third. He was consistent, which was a breath of fresh air. I got good morning texts every single day without fail. Sometimes, when I was swamped at work, a surprise lunch would show up at my desk, with a little note from him saying, "Thinking of you." We had these late-night calls that would stretch until 2 or 3 in the morning, talking about everything and nothing. He said he'd never felt this way before, that he could be his complete self with me. And I believed him, because I felt it too. It was that rare, electrifying connection you read about in books, but never think you'll actually find. 6 months flew by, and it was time for him to meet my family. I was nervous, of course. My family can be a lot, but Jason handled them with a grace and charm that was just so him. My mum, who is notoriously hard to please, absolutely adored him. She pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered, "He's a keeper, honey." My dad, a man of few words, shook his hand firmly and later told me, "He's a good man. You can see it in his eyes." Even my cynical older sister, who trusts absolutely no one, gave him her seal of approval. "Okay," she admitted. "I'll give you this one. He's different." They saw what I saw. A kind, genuine soul who loved me. We started talking about the future, not in a vague, someday kind of way, but in a real, tangible way. We talked about how many kids we wanted. He wanted 2, I wanted 3, so we compromised on 2 and a dog. We argued playfully about where we'd live, the city versus the suburbs. We dreamed about the house we would build together, the life we would create. He wasn't just a boyfriend. He was my partner. He proved it one day when I was stressing about my student loans. Out of the blue, he transferred a significant amount of money to my account. When I protested, he just hugged me and said, "We're in this together. Your debt is our debt." I remember crying that night, not because of the money, but because for the first time in my life, I felt completely and utterly safe with someone. I felt like we were a team, ready to take on the world. Then, one warm summer evening, he told me he had a surprise for me. He drove us to the beach where we had one of our first dates. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. He'd set up a little picnic with candles and a Bluetooth speaker playing our favorite songs. It was perfect. We walked along the shore, hand in hand, the waves gently lapping at our feet. He stopped, turned to face me, and took both of my hands in his. He told me how much I had changed his life, how he couldn't imagine a single day without me in it. And then, he got down on one knee and proposed. Tears were streaming down my face before he even finished asking. I was crying so hard I could barely choke out the word. Yes, it was, without a doubt, the happiest, most surreal moment of my entire life. He slid a temporary ring onto my finger, and it felt like the final piece of a puzzle clicking into place. We took a bunch of selfies, messy crying and all, and posted one online. My phone immediately blew up with notifications. Everyone was so happy for us. Our friends, our families. It felt like the whole world was celebrating our love. The very next day was a blur of excitement. He said he wanted me to have the ring of my dreams. We went to a fancy jewelry store downtown, and he told the salesperson, "Show her whatever she wants." He looked at me with so much love and said, "Pick the one you love. I want you to wear it forever." I didn't want anything extravagant. I chose a simple, elegant gold band with a small, sparkling diamond. It wasn't flashy, but it was us. It felt right. We left the store, my hand in his, and I couldn't stop staring at the ring on my finger. That afternoon, we sat in a cafe and started planning the wedding. He said he didn't want a big fuss. He wanted something small, intimate. Just our family, he said. Just love. It was exactly what I wanted too. We talked about venues, dates, guest lists. It all felt so real, so close. I could practically picture myself walking down the aisle towards him. That night, I went to bed feeling like the luckiest, most blessed woman on the entire planet. I kissed him goodnight, told him I loved him more than words could say, and drifted off to sleep with a smile on my face, dreaming of our future. I was engaged to the man of my dreams. Everything was perfect, but I didn't know that was the last time I'd see him. I didn't know that when I woke up the next morning, he'd be gone. His clothes, his toothbrush, everything. His phone number was disconnected. His social media accounts were deleted. It was like he had never existed. He proposed to me, and then he vanished, and my perfect life shattered into a million pieces. The days that followed were a living nightmare. At first, I thought something terrible had happened to him. I called hospitals. I filed a missing persons report with the police. I was frantic, imagining the worst. But the police were skeptical. There was no sign of foul play, they said. People go off-grid sometimes. My friends tried to comfort me, but what could they say? My family was in shock. My dad, who had called him a good man, couldn't look me in the eye. It was my sister who finally voiced the terrible thought that was taking root in my own mind. What if ... what if he just left? I refused to believe it. Not Jason. Not the man who cried when he proposed. Not the man who helped me with my student loans. But as days turned into weeks, the denial started to crumble, replaced by a cold, sickening realization. The police found out the name he gave me was an alias. The company he said he worked for had no record of him. The stories he told me about his family, his childhood, they were all lies. The man I was going to marry didn't exist. The money he gave me for my student loans, it was gone. And then I discovered he had used my personal information to open several credit cards in my name. He'd maxed them all out. The ring, the one he insisted I pick, the one he said he wanted me to wear forever. The jeweler confirmed it was a cheap imitation. The diamond was fake. He hadn't just vanished. He had methodically and cruelly robbed me, not just of my money, but of my trust, my sense of safety, my belief in love itself. The humiliation was almost worse than the heartbreak. I had to tell everyone, our friends, our family, that the engagement was off. I had to explain that the man they all liked, the man my mother adored, was a con artist. Some people were sympathetic. Others, I could tell, were silently judging me. How could you not have known? Their eyes seemed to say. And that was the question that haunted me day and night. How had I been so blind? I replayed every moment, every conversation, every loving glance, searching for the red flags I had so obviously missed. The truth was, there weren't any obvious ones. He was a master manipulator. He had studied me, learned my weaknesses, and mirrored my dreams back at me. He told me everything I ever wanted to hear. The recovery has been slow and painful. It's been a long journey of therapy, of rebuilding my finances, and more importantly, of learning to trust myself again. For a long time, I blamed myself. I felt stupid, naive, and broken. But with help, I started to understand that I wasn't stupid. I was trusting. I was in love. And he exploited that. What he did is a reflection of his character, not mine. Sharing this story is incredibly difficult, but I mean it because I want anyone who has been through something similar to know that you are not alone. It is not your fault. Healing is possible, and finding your way back to yourself is the most important journey you'll ever take. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt this kind of betrayal, please know that there is light on the other side.